Hi everyone, I'm going to do a short video for you on Harvard referencing and how to reference in the Rambert style sheet or style book. So Harvard is the style of referencing we use, but from university to university or college to college there are different versions. So this is Harvard, but how we use it. And we'll be looking at how to reference a journal article as well as looking at how to reference books, DVDs, any other media online you might come across and be using. So in this session we're going to talk about a couple of things, just defining the difference between citing and referencing, what that is, and how to present our work according to the academic handbook, so the Rambert style. And we'll do a bit of practicing. There's a couple of exercises at the end which you can use to practice your knowledge, what you've learned in this session. So why is referencing needed? Good question. It's evidence of your background reading, so really shows us or whoever's reading your work that you have done the research and gives us an idea of the kinds of research you've been doing. And also it acknowledges that the work has not been done by you in the main part, that you're giving credit to the other authors. It also helps you to not commit plagiarism, which is copying other people's work, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And it's also easy for us to trace the background materials that you've used, so it's easy for us to get a sense of where you've been researching. So that's why we reference. Plagiarism is, as it says here, it's the unacknowledged incorporation into a student's work of material derived from somewhere else, and that includes the internet. So don't do that. Don't copy and paste off websites and pass it off as your own, because as you'll find out shortly, when we start to use Turnitin, it's going to come up in your originality report. So Turnitin will be online live in January. And what it is, for those of you who haven't used it, is a website. You can either submit it on the website or within the college, which is what we're going to be doing. And it helps you because it will give you a report on your work and show you exactly the bits of it that aren't yours and that you haven't acknowledged. So it's a very useful tool, and I hope it'll make your lives easier. So just a little cat to liven things up. I'll try and pepper the presentation with a few of those. How does referencing work? So there are two elements to referencing other people's work. There's the in-text citation. So that's in your work, going along, writing your essay, and you might want to talk about someone else's ideas and bring in a quote. So that's in-text citation. The other bit of referencing is the bibliography. So that's the list at the back, everything that you've talked about, everything that you've referred to. So there's two aspects to referencing. We'll look at a bibliography in a moment. So citing in the text has a couple of different approaches, and the first one, the one that you'll be using probably more than anything, is the direct quote. So just where you put in a quote and you then at the end of the quote put the name of the person who's written it, the year, and the page number. So you'll see here that this reference, Root 2001, page 12, there should be a comma there, by the way, always, the last name, comma, and then the date. We use P as an abbreviation for page, and if you've got multiple pages, if it was page 12 to 14, you would use PP. So thinking about those two things, single page P, double P for multiple pages. The quotation also, you can have a direct quote which is this way, so you'd have the author name here, Adair, and then the reference states that, and then you can put the quoted matter in. So you can either go this way, you have the quoted matter first, then the reference, or you can have the author here introduce the quote and then say what the quote is. Another thing to consider, if you're using a quote from somewhere else that's already a quote, if it's within a quotation, this is how you need to present it. So ready says, but it's already in another book, so it would be ready, 1969, in Smith, that's the originating publication, 72, page 11 says, blah, blah, blah. So just to be clear on that, when the quotation is from a text where it's already acknowledged as a quotation, this is how you do it. Hope that's clear. Just to make life a bit more difficult, if you're using a text which has already been published a long time ago, and this is Karl Marx, obviously published 1867, but there have been updated versions of this. So what you need to do is acknowledge when it was first published in the square brackets, and then put the most recent reprint or update. Please note, if you do this, you only do it once, and then in subsequent references you don't put the square brackets, you would just say Marx 1967. But in the first instance, that's what we do. I'm in your computer making your graphics. I love that one. So, short quotations, i.e. just a line or less even, can be part of the normal sentence. So here you've got an example. As part of the discussion of kinesthetic intelligence, it was stated that quoted matter in dance, even the tiniest quiver of a finger may assume importance. Gardner, 1984, etc. So that's a short, tiny quotation. What about a longer one? Well, there's a little bit of a different way to present a longer quotation, and normally in academic convention we say anything that's 40 words or more. So here we've got a quotation, I hope it's probably just a little more than 40 words. In her most famous statement, etc., etc. And the quotation from Yvonne Rainer is in single spacing, so we single space it, in italics, but no quotation marks, because the way that that's presented, it's automatically a quotation, so you don't need to put quote marks around it. I'll just go back so you can get that. So longer quotations should be indented before and after the quotation and distinguished from the main text by a single spacing. So don't forget, your whole essay is going to be double spaced and you don't need quotation marks. Usual things apply here: the author's name, the date, the page numbers. All right, so just to wrap up on in-text citation, if we look at this example here, you'll see that whoever's been writing has used a couple of different references. So Lee 2005 is the middle one. Smith 2005 is this one, and then Jones et al. Is this one, top one. So we'll come to Jones et al. What does et al. Mean? But basically you can see the in-text citation here, the reference list here. So these are the two parts of referencing that we've just talked about. Just another thing to draw your attention to, abbreviated quotes. So when you're using part of a quote or you're just taking out a few words, it's normal to put in this, the 3 dots, sometimes called an ellipsis. But the 3 dots show us that something's been taken out. So this quote here, we don't know what the rest of the quote was, but the bit that's been selected is the students at Rambert performed some of the most moving and skillful choreography, and that's true. Now, the next thing I want to draw your attention to, and this is really important, paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is where you put into your words someone else's ideas, and lots of us do it. It's fine to just sum up a paragraph or a page, but you must put a reference. And the way to do that is this example, number 1, Baines, 1977, tries to show how the development of postmodern choreography, etc., etc. So it's not her words, it's not a direct quote, it's whoever's writing has summarized, but still acknowledged that Baines was the inspiration for that. The second example, the same thing. So this has no quotations, it's not a quoted reference, but it's taken from Bulmer 92. So don't think that you can kind of rewrite a website and pass that off as your own. Again, people marking essays do have quite an eye for this sort of thing, so they might go and do a bit of research and find out that you've reworded something without quoting it, and you'll lose marks. Citing in the text, just going back to this thing about authors, so 3 or few authors or 2 authors you can just write out, Cutler, Williams and Williams, or Williams and Williams. But if there's more than 4, it tends to be presented like this: Matlock et al. So et al means and the rest, something like that. And it's usually in italics. So if you've got, for example, one of these journal articles, so these are kind of sciencey ones that have lots of names on, don't know if you can see, but this one would be Gallagher et al. So more than 4 authors. Okay, on to the bibliography, which is the list at the end of your work. It must be alphabetical. Do not put random names all over the place. It has to be last name alphabetical, and it gives the full out reference. The following formulas that I've put, they're taken from the academic handbook. They're to make sure that you don't miss out how to do it. And then also it's important that you've got a record of all the stuff that you've been reading. You can use software for this, and I'm going to show you at the end a couple of different softwares that are great for putting in the details, the books, the referencing, the articles, and then kind of spitting them out in a properly formatted bibliography. So here we go. A book is usually the author, the editors, whoever they are, and then the year of publication, round brackets, and the title. So this is normally in bold according to our Rambert sheet, followed by a full stop. And then you'll see that you get place of publication and the publisher. So let's have a look at what that looks like. And that's Postmodernism and Popular Culture, and that's this book. It's a very good book if anyone's interested. So that's what a book reference should look like in your bibliography. So an example here of how the citation, the in-text citation and the bibliography reference will look is here. This theory is explored in detail by Adair, and the full reference, Adair, C, 2007, Dancing the Black Question, the Phoenix Dance Company Phenomenon, full stop, London, full stop, dance books, full stop. So that's a properly referenced reference source. Next is the chapter in a book. So this is slightly different. This is when, for example, something like the Routledge Dance Studies Reader, which you'll get really familiar with next year for dance history. It's edited by 2 people, but it's actually written, each chapter is written by a different author. So if you're citing from something like this, you'll need to do something different. And it'll look like this. So you would have the author of the chapter, or the article, in this case Baines, Choreographic Methods of the Judson Dance Theatre in Dills and Albright, which is in the library, another great book, Moving History, Dancing Cultures. So it's slightly different from the book example. You've got to reference the author of the article and the editors of the whole book. Hope that's clear. Journals. Some of you will be using journals. This is a journal, so it's a slim one-off article, either published online or in an actual magazine or a journal that you'll get in the library. And these are slightly different. So you have the author, as before, year of publication, as before, title of the article now in italics. So that's where it gets a little bit different. And the title of the journal in bold or underlined. So in the style book it says either. Followed by a comma, volume number, because a lot of these journals come in volume 43 and then an issue as well. So you have to look and see if there's an issue number 2. Usually it's just a volume number. It could be a month or a season, followed by a comma, and then you've got the page numbers again of the article followed by a full stop. And that looks like this. So in the text it's Abrams 2008 refers to blah blah blah, and the full reference is this: Abrams J 2008, title of the article in italics and journal title in bold, issue 90, page, etc. So that's how to present a journal. Electronic journals, these are online only. Again, there's a slightly different convention. It's mainly to do with the internet reference itself and all of that stuff. Let's have a quick look. So the in-text citation would be Ballet Russe Influence Perceptions of Dance. The full reference title of this article, The Ballet Russe Revolution, Dance Magazine, which is in bold, brackets internet because it's only an internet publication. The same kinds of things that we've just talked about, the volume, the page number, and then this is the different bit, available from, this actually should be inside the chevron, but you have two chevrons and the reference, which we could click on, have a look. And then after that, in square brackets, the date that you accessed it. So that shows us the date that you went on and had a look at that. Websites are kind of similar. So if you've gone to a website and you've just taken something from that website, you must reference it, and this is the way to do that. So something about a choreographer, Sue Nye, and the reference was from the Dance UK website. So again, it's available from, you put the whole link in, and then you show us when you accessed it. So these chevrons are kind of around the actual hyperlink. Web page is quite similar. I've given you one here, so this is from my website, and someone might be taking some information about yoga for dancers. It was on my website. Same thing, accessed date and available from, and you put the whole internet reference. So accessed from here should actually be in square brackets. Naughty me. So that's square brackets as above, and you can take the format from this. DVDs and videos. So you might want to include some quoting or just mention or reference a DVD. And if you do, this is how you do it. We'll go to the example. So this is two examples. The first one by Rosie Lee, Peter Anderson. So again, what we do with the square brackets is tell the reader what kind of media it is. So this is on video and DVD, square brackets, and this one, Signal by Henri Oguike, is video VHS. So it's the same kind of formatting. The title is in bold, however, title in bold, and the information of who produced it is here. So that's DVD and video. I've made a chart, by the way, which I've put on Facebook, which gives you all of these examples, how to do them in a table. Live dance performance, again, these are things that you may be talking about. Similar kinds of conventions, the choreographer, the year, title in bold, the dance company if there's one, and the venue and the place where the performance was presented. So let's have a look. This is one, and Twyla Tharp. The work's called In the Upper Room, so that's in bold. The year that it was seen is 2007. So the reference in your bibliography is here, and in square brackets, that's the date that you went to see it. So I hope that's clear too. You can double check these when you start to do your reference list. Come back to this presentation, play it again, look at the information in the table that I've uploaded. No excuse, in other words. So bibliography, coming to the end, it's in last name alphabetical order, really important. Please don't disappoint me by not doing that. You can use bibliographic software. So in a moment, I'm going to show you some examples of that. Zotero and EndNote are two very good ones. There are others. And it does make your life so easy. So let's have a quick look. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use EndNote. This comes with, or you can use it with Microsoft Word. And basically, it's like a little library where you put in your various references. So I'll open up this one. And this is Csikszentmihalyi, who's an author who's written about flow, optimum experience. So you can see here, I've put in the author, the year, the title, series editor, etc. It's got lots and lots of different fields that you can put in. I only used a certain amount. And that will just be stored in my little library And here you can see there's quite a few different things. There's books, there's journals. So this is giving me something on mirrors and reflections. So if I just do, I'll do an entry for you. I'll go to new reference and I'll do Angela McRobbie. So it's not a journal, so I'll just go here and it's a book. So the author is McRobbie and her initial is A, the year is 1992, the title is Postmodernism and Popular Culture. Place published is London, publisher is Routledge. Don't ask me how I know this stuff off by heart. I'm not going to put anything else in, but that's basically the reference that I've created, and it will just be automatically stored in my library. Now, what does this all mean? You're asking, how is this going to help me with my dissertation or with my essays? Well, what you can do at the end of all of this inputting that you might do is you could export it to a bibliography. So if I can just remember how to do this, you can, where is it? Okay, well, for the sake of this presentation, I will have to come back to this, but basically you can export it all. It will be Harvard referenced and it takes the work out of it. So if you wanted to explore something like EndNote, that's one option. The other option is Zotero. This is an online facility, it's free, so it's the same sort of thing as EndNote. You can download it and create your own library. What you can also do with both EndNote and Zotero is citing, which if you go to something like PubMed, which is an online, more medical journal repository, and if we look at something, let's try Dancers and Hypermobility. So if we looked at an article on PubMed and say I wanted this article, I like this article and I wanted to save it to my library, handily you'll see here there's a little EN thing which is for EndNote, but there are other ways of exporting a citation. Just click on that and I'll get a little file which, once I've clicked it, be this EndNote, and it should, it's not working either, but it will open itself automatically in my EndNote library and the citation will actually be there. So it's very useful if, like me, you're a bit lax about writing things up. These kinds of things can really help to keep your resources and your reference in shape. So those two things, Zotero and EndNote, make your life easy. But if all else fails, you can go to the Harvard generator. This is so cool. I saved the best for last in case any of you really find this stuff difficult. So you can go to the Harvard generator, and this is a website online. The link's not coming up, but let's see. So all you do with the Harvard referencing generator is put in what you want to reference and it will come up. So you can put in, for example, a website, a book, put in the book title. So if we do the same sort of thing, we can do McRobbie, and we can do 1992, and the title, Postmodernism, Popular Culture. And then if you press generate, it will generate this here, which you'll copy and paste into your references. So I hope that was useful. And if you have any questions, you can always email me, but I think you've probably got enough material to be going on with, so you can look back at this presentation and you can watch it while you eat your dinner or go about your business. And as I said, there's also a table on Facebook. So thanks very much and have a good holiday.